Today, we're going to dive into how Abstract has gained mindshare as the consumer blockchain while also growing to $200 million in total value locked. So the focus of today's video is to dive into their overall brand strategy and positioning and how they built that initial hype around Abstract. In future videos, we're going to dive deeper into both their incentive system, which is the XP system that they have, as well as their ecosystem strategy and partnership strategy. What is Abstract? Abstract is an Ethereum layer 2 that positions itself as the consumer crypto chain. In fact, I would argue Abstract is the team that made that term so popular. So unless you've been living under a rock, or perhaps more aptly under an igloo, you've probably heard of Pudgy Penguins. Abstract is built by the same team that brought Pudgy Penguins to market. From day zero, Abstract had a strong positioning and association with Pudgy Penguins, and the two brands are very strongly intertwined. So it's quite similar to Hyperliquid in the sense that they first had a big consumer app that really went viral, that really did extremely well before they built a blockchain, right? And on user experience. So Abstract strategy is very different from the typical layer 2 strategy, which is to talk about technobabble and how their infrastructure is marginally better than everybody else's infrastructure. Abstract is far more focused on user experience, culture, and consumer applications. This all starts with their founder, Luca, who is extremely famous due to the fact that he is the person who really turned around Pudgy Penguins into one of the top brands in the crypto world, if not the most popular crypto brand in the world. So Leon Aboud from Unfungible frequently talks about the founder funnel, and Luca is an excellent example of the founder funnel. So right from the top, the chain is very differentiated because it's not about the tech only, it's much more so about the user experience, about distribution, it being a home for great consumer apps. The funny thing is, Abstract started out by acquiring Frame, which is another layer 2, and Frame was supposed to be a layer 2 for NFTs. I think the Abstract team saw an opportunity to just acquire really great tech at probably a great price, and then also be able to accelerate their own development massively by using tech that had already been, I guess, built up or built to certainly a high level. Through this acquisition, they were focused on getting to market rapidly. Now, one of the core takeaways I took from Abstract and Pudgy Penguins is that Luca first built Pudgy Penguins into the most loved NFT brand in the world. First, he turned around the community completely when he acquired it, turned it into the most popular NFT collection, definitely the cycle, and then he scaled it to the mass market through social media, through their toys. They've sold millions of toys in Walmarts and other retail stores. And so Pudgy Penguins has actually turned into a global toy brand as well, on top of being obviously a very popular NFT collection. They also proved to builders that Luca and his team are the best at distribution, not only in Web3, but also in Web 2. And that makes Abstract an appealing place to build if you are building a consumer app, because they get it. They can help you. They have the right tools to bring a lot of attention to the chain and the apps on there. So they built the app first and then scaled it out to an ecosystem. So let's talk about another key secret to their success, and that is team-led marketing. Now, we've already mentioned founder-led marketing with Luca absolutely crushing it in terms of communication and just constantly on being on top of that game, right? However, it's not only just the founder. Their whole team has an impressive social presence. And this allows them to really have a massive distribution on both crypto Twitter, as well as attract really great builders and capture mind share as well. So to give you an example, Finn is their marketing lead at Abstract. He is one of the top marketing guys in the space. He used to work for Ronin, and then he moved over to Abstract. So he definitely knows his thing. He's got 30K followers, also consistently shows up on my timeline. Another example is OX Saigar. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Saigar is one of the OG smart contract developers, but also creates a ton of content. So he also got hired by Abstract Chain, and he's got a massive social presence, is one of the most respected people in the space. And there's a lot of other Abstract team members that are also quite well known in their own regard and have great networks and bring a lot of credibility to the project. Now, how do you attract such winners? Quite frankly, I think it's because Luca himself is such a winner in the sense that he is absolutely one of the top operators in the space. So he automatically just attracts the best of the best. So the people who in the space who just rise to the top, they want a role where they're challenged and they want a role where they're upside. And I think Luca's nailed out that combination. Now, I don't think they really want to go for another generic L2. Quite frankly, the opportunity to learn from one of the best is a big opportunity. And that's why I think he's able to attract people like that. And because these guys are just constantly bull posting abstract and talking about abstract in their personal accounts, you're just getting a massive reach for abstract. So to recap, the big lessons you can take away from Abstract's go-to-market and their overall strategy is, first, you want to have a unique and differentiated vision, right? Luca really brought that in with the whole idea of consumer crypto. He created a category there. He really built something unique and different in the sense that everybody was having this conversation in the head of every L2 is the same. Why should I invest in an L2 token? They're all pretty much just going down and they are all just technically kind of like maybe somewhat differentiated, but the culture and so on, it is not really differentiated, right? At least with the L1s like Solana and Ethereum, there's clear cultures, right? So he brought culture to an L2, and he did that by creating a unique vision of what that future looks like. The second is he built a brilliant app, which is Pudgy Penguins and their brand, and he basically built a lot of distribution. He had that key insight, which is that distribution is one of the hardest things in crypto, and by building those distribution channels through Pudgy Penguins, he just has a huge advantage with Abstract that other chains don't. The third big lesson is both you as the founder as well as your team members should be constantly active on socials and really letting people know what you're building. That's how you build a lot of interest. That's how you stay on top of the timeline. That's how you keep attention for a consistently long period of time. People don't really connect with brands as well as they do with personal accounts, which is why you always want somebody on your team who is constantly just tweeting and is the person that people can connect. Now, ideally, in the case of Abstract, it's multiple people like that, so that there's just basically these evangelists that build strong relationships with their audiences, and then they bring that audience to your brand. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name's Shash, and I run Crescendo. We're a top go-to-market agency working with top-tier teams like Aether, Beamable, Mavari, and many others. And if you're interested in a free marketing consultation, feel free to hit me up to have a quick chat. And feel free to subscribe because we're going to be pushing out the second video in the series on Abstract's XP system very soon as well. So I'll see you in that video.